Hey you guys, welcome back. Welcome back to High Priestess Transmissions. My name is Nikki. I'm an initiated High Priestess, witch, and psychic medium. And over the weekend, I got some Christian comments, of all things, with some Bible verses. Specifically on that video that I made about me being a witch that believes in God. This user commented a bunch of different Bible verses about witches. One even encouraged the unaliving of witches, if I remember correctly. And they basically were like, well, then how do you explain this? And this is not the first time this has happened to me. I don't really like to give hate comments or snide comments any type of airtime. But I know that there's a lot of newer witches that listen to my content, and I wanted to give y'all some encouragement and words of advice because I've been on this path wholeheartedly for 7 years, and I would be lying to you if I said that there were not people trying to take me off of it with it, and they love to use the Bible. Okay. And when I saw this comment, my first thought was not getting angry or afraid or wanting to delete the video or anything of the sort. I just kind of laughed, and I thought to myself, they really think that Bible verse or those verses have any authority over me. They think that just because the Bible rules their life and their path, that the same goes for me. And that these verses have any authority over me or my life, and that's not true. I think that the Bible has its good teachings, right? But there's other parts of it, like one of the verses that they named, that are very problematic and have been used to justify many horrible crimes against humanity, but especially the unaliving of witches. There is a certain verse that says something like, if you suffer a witch to live, or some crazy stuff. And y'all already know people used that back in the day to unalive witches, or even people that they thought were witches, women that they suspected were practitioners when they weren't. And even if they were, so what? But anyway, that was my first thought. And that's what y'all have to remember. This path will test you. This world will test you. For many of us, witches, especially if you're like me and you were just born this way, you've always been this way, you're just naturally an outcast. Like, I've been an outcast and a loner my whole life. And a lot of different aspects of who I am have kind of made me that way. You know, from my dad being gypsy, right? We've always been outcasts. Another part, me actually being a practitioner, that also makes me an outcast. And then even within the spiritual community, me being a high priestess of Palamayombe, that also, on a third level, makes me an outcast because people demonize Palo at every turn. And it's just something that some of you will have to make terms with. That there's a sacred medicine of it. You get this, the divine gives you this time of your life. For some of you, it'll be 1 or 2 years. Others, it'll be 5 to 7. Some of you, it might be 10 or more. It just depends. But it's meant to healthily isolate you so you can reclaim parts of your soul that you may have lost, and, you know, do your inner work and really come into who you are. Because if you're like me and you're an old soul, this probably isn't your first lifetime being a witch. It's probably been multiple lifetimes, but this just so happens to be the one that we probably have the most freedom, okay, because of women's rights and also expanded freedom of religion and all that kind of stuff. But it's really important to notice that and use that time to your advantage, because then if you do it correctly, over time you'll build your own community of people like you, and you'll, as long as you stay on the right path, you'll become an elder. And if you're in a religion like Paulo, you'll have godchildren, they'll come into your life and you'll see parts of yourself in them. They'll become like your kids, and you have to spiritually raise them and reparent a lot of them, okay? And you'll try to help them and prevent them from making the mistakes that you made or encountering the hardships that you did. So just because you feel so outcast from the world, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. You're just different, but you're not the only one. But you have to step into those shoes as comfortably as you can and grow into them and become who you're meant to become, because there are other people, there are other women like you. And like I said in my previous video, in the next 10 years, a lot more women are going to be awakening spiritually. Like, probably just intuitively estimating, however many women awakened during Miss Rona, right? 2020. Intuitively estimating, I'd say about within the next 10 years, we're going to get 4 to 5 times that. And it's great, but they're going to need a lot of guidance, and they're going to need other witches, good witches, to look up to, that know their stuff and practice the right way with integrity and do their best to hold balance. And so it's really important for y'all to, like, stay the path. And I'm telling you these things that I wish somebody told me when I was like 1 or 2 years in, because I didn't know, and I was just getting hated on. And the beautiful thing is, the more that you walk this path and the more comfortable you get with it, and also the more comfortable that you get with yourself, you don't care. Like, I don't think that Christianity or Judaism or Islam or Hinduism or any of these major, Buddhism, any of these major religions are problems themselves. Just like I don't think that Paulo is a problem itself. It's how it's used and what it's used for and what evil acts are done in the name of that religion. That's the problem. Are there some beautiful Bible verses? Yeah, and proverbs and lessons and stories and stuff? Absolutely. But I just don't... It's just not my cup of tea, you know? So I'm not going to answer to it. And I still have the right to believe in God, in the Almighty Creator. I just don't believe in it the same way that a Christian does, and that's okay. There's nothing against Jesus. I think Jesus was an ascended master. I think he was real. I think that he had an amazing mission for Earth, and poor thing, he was just hated on. His entire, like, not his entire life, but towards the end it was pretty bad, right? And he was unalived for just being who he was and spreading the message of God. And you would think that a religion that has that as its basis would be a lot more accepting and understanding and compassionate, but they're not. They pretend they are. And they do a lot of charitable acts, but 9 times out of 10, it's with an ulterior motive. We're going to pay your mortgage this month, but you're going to need to join our church. Type thing. Because they think that if they convert X amount of people, that they'll get brownie points with God at the end of their life. And I just don't believe in that. You know? Let people believe what resonates with them. As long as they're not hurting anybody, truly hurting anybody, leave them alone. It's not your job to convert anybody. Be who you are. Be an embodiment of whatever path that you follow. And the right people that are attracted to that path and those teachings will flock to you. But your embodiment is the best teacher of your wisdom and your path's sacred teachings. Not just stuff from a book. I know Christians that can recite the Bible back and forth, right? And they're terrible people at their core. No right-minded person no sovereign person wants to go to them for advice. So that's just my little 2 cents. Be who you are. Because another thing that I wish more people realized is, even though the spiritual path, especially if you're like me and you're the black sheep and the cycle breaker and the witch and all this stuff, it's not always easy. But I promise you from lived experience, trying to fit in, trying to be a people pleaser and make everybody but yourself happy, and trying to fit the mold is going to be 10 times harder, 10 times more painful, and also your soul, whenever it decides to reincarnate again or has to reincarnate again, you're just going to have to do the same thing over and over. So you might as well follow your path that God wants for you. That's authentic to you and your soul. Just logically makes sense. Okay? If you would like to check out my courses, you can go to sirensnectar.com/courses. And I also have a gallery of digital artwork inspired by common energies within Puerto Rican Espiritismo. You can go to sirensnectar.com/art for that. Okay? Thank you, guys.